Look at the England game, right? You said like England, we can safely say England lost this one. You know, it was not
I
like
feel they lost it. Yeah.
you know, you know, 2 minutes before time, actually, to put it in context. What do you think the Boks did right in the last 10 minutes? Because I think that's where we started to realize if we don't make a change, we are going to lose this one.
I think we showed a bit of heart. You know, some of the guys on the field, as Tebogo mentioned, were tired, and so the influence of Oxenchair, Kwagga Smith, RG Snyman was much more than just what they did, you know, on the ball and on defense. It was inspiring the rest of the team to say, listen, well, these guys are getting over there. I better make sure I'm also there. Otherwise, I'm not going to play next weekend. So there was a lot of inspiration. You know, I won't say necessarily leadership, but leading by example for these men coming into that last, 12, 15 minutes, you know, when we scored that try. And when we scored that try, you could have just seen the entire mentality of that team changed. And we worked hard for getting that penalty. We took some risky calls. Once again, another scrum in the 22.
Yeah.
But when we got that penalty and Andre Pollard just slotted that, it was just amazing, you know. So, you know, as he said, maybe they have the upper hand.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing for us. You know, we went into the 2019 final as underdogs. If we're going into this final on Saturday as underdogs, that's exactly where we as South Africans want to be. You know, we want to take them to the gutters. We want to be there. We want to have our backs against the wall. And that's when we're showing that fighting spirit, you know, of the South African mentality.
Both of you touched on experience, right? Let's look into those experienced players that can come in and actually, like, you know, stand up for us this coming weekend. Who do you think is one player that will definitely raise? In fact, if not even one, let's strictly just say those experienced players that can raise their hands.
Well, I think firstly, you know, Tebogo can come in here as well. I think we need to start with that forward pack. You know, Kitshoff hasn't been on his best, but he's been there. He's played 2 World Cup. He's going to play in his second World Cup final. He's played in 2 URC finals. I think he's been to the big dance. You know, even though he hasn't been to his best. Bongi's been in that World Cup final. Frans Malherbe. You need to start with those 3. You need to look at Eben Etzebeth. You need to look at Franco Mostert. Once again, both of them has been to that big dance. RG Snyman on the bench. You have to look at that influence as well. Captain fantastic, Siya Kolisi. He has the possibility of becoming the second captain to win back-to-back World Cups, equaling Richie McCaw on 2.
Yeah.
Peter Steph Tutoy was World Player of the Year 2019 when we won that World Cup. So he's got to be there. I think that he's got to be the guy that sticks his hand up. Together with Dwayne Vermeulen. I'd love to see Jasper Wiese in that match day 23. We'll see if they make space for him, if they're going to go with Manie Libbok starting him again. You know, when Manie Libbok started against the All Blacks at Twickenham, he made it very difficult for the All Blacks, you know, getting his backline on the move. We played a game that they couldn't match. Maybe they're expecting us to play a match like this, and we have to bully them up front. So I think in terms of the front row, or rather the forwards, that and then Kwagga Smith. I mean, that's your influential guys you need.
Yeah, no, I think definitely in terms of what Ed is saying there, we do have the pack that we put out. You know, last week was the most experienced pack that the Boks have. You know, that they've ever had, 630 something games. You know, when you combine all their caps together. You know, so I definitely do think the players that we have, especially in the starting pack, and we have to really look at it in terms of Kitsi and, you know, Bongi. Those two, arguably, you know, when Kitsi is on song, you know that he can steal balls, he can bully defenses, he can scrum for you quite well, you know. And then when you look at Bongi, you know, even Rassi said it in the 2019 World Cup, is that you had to decide how you want to go about the game. When you put in Bongi Monambi, it's because you just really want to bully everyone, you know, and he's going to be that player, but he hasn't been that at the moment. So going into a final, it's one of those things where you just pretty much, and South Africans are good at this, you know, is that it's that thing that, listen, it's that time, eh? You need to switch up, and you need to make the change, and they're very good at that. So Ed's really touched on, you know, the forward pack, but I think in the back line as well, I think you definitely have to start a guy like Faf. I think Faf he will be there, and we always mention that Faf is sort of like that safety net for the box. Is that Faf is one of those players that you give him a map, you say play the game plan like this,
and he's going to do exactly
he's going to do exactly what you tell him to do. He's not going to go left and right and try and do anything else. He's going to play the game plan to where you want it to be. Mani Lebok, like you mentioned earlier on before we came onto the show, I think he has done his part. I think now it's time for us to go back to what worked for us, bring Pollard back, and see what we can do from there.
I was actually about to touch on that, to say, off air we were just talking about players that could be dropped off that squad, and players that could go in. I mean, we saw what Ox did when he came in. Like, he was amazing, coming in as a sub there. Who do you think Coach Ninaba is most likely to put in the squad in the final? And also those players that could be dropped as well.
I think for the final, maybe, just maybe, I think Mani could be dropped for the final. I think he not because he's bad or anything like that, but you can see how quickly Rassi and Jock were quickly to see that, okay, well, it's not working now, let's just put Pollard back.
Yeah, it's not the game plan.
So I think he might go back, Pollard might start, and then Mani could completely miss out in terms of playing in the final, and then I think as well, Jasper Visser resting 2 games, the experience, there's overall experience there. I think someone fresh like Jasper coming back into the squad, he might do well there. But yeah, Ox, Kwacha and Adrie, I think they will stay on the bench. I do believe that it's going to be like that. And like you mentioned, the heart that they showed. I mean, there's one thing that motivates players, and it's when the guys that come on start saying, especially at Afrikaans, he's on snow. And you could hear it. Well, the last scrum where we got the penalty, Kwacha was busy saying, he's on snow. Yeah, man, he's on snow.
Yeah.
And that's when you know.
And that's when you know.
When we show this, that's attack sign.
That's when you know. It's a problem, because I'm telling you, the most scariest thing in world rugby at the moment is a South African forward pack that's chatting and talking. And you hear small things like Bongi saying, we do it for South Africa. You hear Willie Leroux screaming from the back saying, Amal chase. You don't want to hear that. You would rather have a Springbok squad that has hands on hips looking at each other and trying to find answers amongst each other.
But now I want to throw something on the table.
Yeah.
I know we didn't discuss this off air.
Throw the kitchen sink.
What if we play the 6-2 split? We bring Jasper in, and we have Reinach and Lebok on the bench.
I think we'll be in trouble. I think as much as he hasn't been performing well, I think Willie still needs to be there.
You think so?
I think he needs to be there. He's unnecessary at the moment. To be honest with you, Willie Leroux, his rugby at the moment has turned more into, he talks a lot and plays absolutely boggle. Like
I'm just scared that might be a problem for us this week.
I think
I would have rather had a guy like a Warwick Geland in there then. What about looking at bringing, I know Kane Moody is young, but just what he brings to the game.
Yeah.
What about, I would have loved if they gave Lucanio a game somewhere.
I was about to think that. I was about to say, I might just, spanner in the works, I might just be back for this one game.
But do you think he'll start on 30?
Above Jesse, he might just. There could be a massive surprise in terms of that. As once again, Jesse has played some great rap. But we were talking about it with Simon, and you'd know him, and we were like, Lucanio might just only play one game in the World Cup, and that's a final.
Could he be that trick up the sleeves,
Yes.
or that trick up the sleeves?
Defense-wise, defensively. They don't call him the king of defense for no reason.
No, listen, Lucanio is pure class. That guy is probably one of the best rugby players we've had ever. I mean, if you have to make a list of top 10 rugby players, he has to be in there.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Top
you're going
five.
to, I don't know, even top 5. I don't know who you're going to put at the top. Maybe a guy like, I don't know who you're going to put there.
And especially if he has chewing gum.
Then you know it's on.
No, then you know it's on. Like, he's one of those players. I always say sometimes for me, he's like the coach's nightmare, because you never really know if is he listening to you or is he not, because he's just so chilled, and it's just goes on about his stuff. But my goodness me, when he gets onto that field, oh.
The other thing that I picked up with the English game, right, which I looked at it as a bit of a concern for me, is England, in terms of strength, with those collisions, England almost matched us, right?
I think
No, we
they,
were bullied.
I think they bullied us. I think they did match us, but they just took it that step further. To be honest, and that's our game plan. That's what we want to play.
Exactly. I wanted to say, back in the days, you knew the bomb squad was aggressive, and when they were going in there, like no man could stand in front of them. But now it's like teams have got a chance against us. Are we still having a bomb squad that is aggressive enough?
Yes.
I think yes, but unfortunately, I would say that this is an opportunity on Saturday, and we might not be as competitive in the next 4 years. I think we unfortunately going into that rebuilding phase. We're going to have certain retirements. We're going to have a new coaching staff coming in, and a new coaching staff is going to play their way. He might say, well, we don't want the bomb squad. He doesn't care about that. He might go back to a 5-3. So I think this is our last chance. And I do think that they are competitive enough and they can bully the All Blacks enough on Saturday.
Yeah. I think it's, like you mentioned now, is that it is the last chance. We have to win the World Cup this weekend. We have to win it. Because if we don't win it this weekend, we're going to have to wait probably another 8 years before we can win it again. Unfortunately.
But you never know.
You never know.
But
But it is like that. But we will be competitive. I think we will definitely be competitive enough. You know what? It's the last 80 minutes. It's the last 80 minutes that some of those guys will ever play in a Bok jersey and in terms of professional rugby players.
Prior to the World Cup, we gave the All Blacks a run for their money. And that's where a lot of people were looking into saying, if we get the All Blacks, we're just going to run. Should we, according to you guys, should we be worried about the All Blacks on Saturday? Because Teboho said, look,
I think yes.
they're going to get better and better as they go. And that's what we're seeing.
I think his prediction was spot on. I think, we thought at the start, maybe we want to play the All Blacks in the quarterfinal. And now, I don't even know if we want to play them in the final, really, because, they're just like fine wine. They've aged so well. But I do think that when it matters most, we can beat them. When there's nothing in it for us, when we've already lost the rugby championship, we're not going to beat them. There's nothing in it for us. When it comes to these big games, I think we might take them.
Hey, and remember, we 3-3 in World Cup finals. So we've never lost a World Cup final. So
well, they 3-4. They've only lost that one in '95.
They lost that one in '95.
And '95 is like 100 years ago almost.
Yeah, and we're about to make them relive those memories once again. But it's gonna be Big Zoe. It's gonna be tough, man. I can't.
How close do you think the score is gonna be? I've seen rugby matches that are won by just a drop kick, and I'm trying to think: is there anyone in our team that can give us those drop kicks?
I think all of them. I think actually Cheslin Colby. I don't know if you saw when he tried to drop kick behind the ruck. Was it against France?
It was behind the rolling maul.
It was behind the scrum or the rolling maul, but that was something that was planned. I can tell you that, because they know Cheslin can drop goal. They didn't expect him to drop goal or to take that drop goal, but he can do that. So I think we've got enough players that can do that. I've seen Cheslin Colby slot 50-meter plus drop goals in France when he played for Toulon. So I think there is a possibility. Andre Pollard, if called upon, I think he can do that. But I think we don't want to get to that point where drop goal needs to be scored for the win.
I just think the we haven't seen South Africa at their best in this World Cup, unfortunately. I just want to see a South African side that's going to go there to be like, let us just play our game plan. I want to see what we can do. At the moment, I've seen what we can do when we're under pressure. We haven't really gone out and taken a game by the scruff of the neck and, suffocated a team.
And create the pressure.
It's always been, we're taking a lot of pressure. Okay, let us give it back, And just quickly, the thing about playing against New Zealand is that it's also one thing. Gone are the years whereby we say that we can't beat New Zealand.
Yeah.
We can beat New Zealand. And there was a stage in rugby whereby whenever we played New Zealand, whether we played them in South Africa, outside of South Africa, we knew they were going to beat us. But now we've gotten back to that stage where it's like, we can beat you as much as you can beat us. And on a neutral field,
Look, I don't want to lie, gents. Like, I'm excited about us being in the final, but I can tell you deep down, I'm scared as hell.
I'm very scared.
I want us to really win it. I think it will be great for the gents to do it again. For the country, it will be good for the country as well. For us to do it again back to back, because at this moment, I think South Africa is that team that in World Rugby you have to study them. They're a study case for you to get your rugby better. But at the same time, Tebogo has this thing that he likes to say, South Africa All Blacks is like Chiefs Pirates or to Derby.
It's massive.
Form doesn't matter, nothing. It's just personal. Like, even the supporters, and you have all over the world now where you start to see people showing which team they love the most between the two. How important is experience coming into this game? And in terms of these two teams, which one has the utmost experience that, either of the teams can bank on?
Yeah, I think we'll be playing a lot more with the experience. I think we'll be backing our experience a lot more, And
listen, we can't throw the All Blacks away. Yeah. I think they've got 4 guys in that team that's played 100 Test matches.
Yeah,
they've got a guy playing in his 3rd World Cup finally on the weekend. So, in terms of experience, the All Blacks have got just as much experience.
I think the All Blacks, in terms of experience, I think we'll be the ones that will be backing our experience more than what the All Blacks will be doing. They do have a lot of experience in their side. Let's not take that away from them. But I think with them, it's a perfect mixture of youth and experience. So that's what they're gonna be. How much work they've done, and we're like, okay, with this we can work with. But with New Zealand, they are looking to get the guys like Ardie Savia, they Sam Whitelocks, and all those guys to be like, hey, listen. They're going to be the ones that are pumping up the youth, the younger guys, to like your Will Jordans and all that stuff, letting them have a go, play their rugby. The likes of Richie Mo'ong. I mean, there's so much that they're doing. I mean, you never know. I mean, look at how you have Dane Coles. People call him your average Joe, and he just comes in. He's got so much experience. When he gets onto that field, he's playing some beautiful rugby. So I think experience is going to be vital. It's going to be really, really vital. I think we'll just be banking a lot more on our experience, more than to say, let's try and see what we can do. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Eddie, you just said you are as scared as I am. Now, I'm gonna ask you a tricky question, right? Who do you put your money on Saturday?
No, listen, I'll never put my money on anyone else than the Springboks. I've got too much trust in them. I'm that guy that every year of a Rugby World Cup, every year of a Cricket World Cup, I believe we're going to win both. So I'll never put my money on anyone else. So if I have to put money on, it'll go for the men in green and gold this weekend.
Tebza?
I think the biggest winner on the day will be rugby. I think there's going to be a beautiful game that's going to be played.
Yeah.
So the winners will be the 80,000 that will be watching and the millions that will be watching. I don't think this is the time to be saying who's going to win the World Cup. It's the time to say, just sit down and watch some beautiful rugby.
Is this you, just scared?
This is the new Tebogo, I
mean, I don't know Tebogo to be scared to pick a side.
You know what? whatever happens, happens. But I'm gonna back the box. I'm gonna back the box. I can't go against them, so I'll just have to back them.
Listen,
Put my trust and faith.
you know, Tabuchiwa is always on my case when it comes to the All Blacks and the Springboks, and he's on some. The All Blacks are taking it, but we'll see.
You should ask him, you know, who's the Prime Minister of Christchurch, and if he can't answer you, you should come back and support the box.
Will he do that?
No, he doesn't know. He just supports the All Blacks.
But gents, any last remarks?
Yeah, thanks for having us. I think it's been a good World Cup. I think I've enjoyed it, and it's been good to chat here on the show with you. Thanks for having us, and we'll see you in the future.
Oh, for sure. Tebza.
Hey, I just wanted, you know, thank you so much for having us here on the show. Thanks to the camera crew and everyone working on the lights, you know.
Yeah.
And GSG is not here today, so I know I can see why. You know? I can see he's not here today, you know. But no, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. It's been a great World Cup, and then, you know, hopefully the future has more shows with us being here. Hopefully we get invited more.
No, definitely we get invited.
God willing.
God willing.
And on that note, listen, you heard Tebogo said it. I think on Saturday, by the way, rugby is definitely going to win. The two best teams in the world when it comes to rugby, locking horns as South Africans, united as ever, waiting for the Boks to do it again for us. I hope Sia lifts it up again. But it's going to be tough. But guys, this is where we bring it to an end. And as always, I won't walk out without saying this. To whom much is given, much is expected. To whom much is expected, much is required. Every champion that is a champion today was once a contender who refused to give up. I'm Big Zo P, the greatest. God willing. I'll see you next time.